Are New Zealand's halal meat truly halal? 10 facts you should know. 1. New Zealand is the world's 4th largest halal meat exporter to the Muslim world. 2. Muslim countries such as Malaysia, Indonesia and Qatar are the biggest importers of New Zealand's halal meat. 3. Among the conditions to qualify for halal certification is that the animals must be alive, in good healthy condition, and conscious at the time of slaughter. This is based upon Prophet Muhammad's sunnah, and has been practiced since thousands of years ago. 4. Non-believers consider the Muslim halal slaughtering method cause pain to the animals. If the animals were to die, they reasoned, then it must be done in the most painless manner possible. 5. New Zealand has enacted an Animal Welfare, Commercial Slaughter, Code of 2018, which states that all commercially slaughtered animals need be stunned first prior to slaughter. The act is to ensure that the animals being slaughtered will not feel pain prior to their death. No exemption is made for religious meat required for Muslim and Jewish consumption. 6. The New Zealand Ministry of Primary Industries, MPI, together with the New Zealand Halal Meat Association came up with a compromise, i.e., to introduce a more compassionate, new DHCE Halal Standard. Under this new DHCE Halal Standard, the animals will not be stunned to death using a penetrating captive bolt, PCB, instead will only be given a low-voltage, non-penetrating, NPCB, placed around the head, just enough to render it unconscious.
بس بالحلال ضم ايدي في ايدينا بعطيك انا سنيني قرب تعال.
Soon after the NPCB shot, a Muslim, halal, or Jewish, kosher, slaughtering method will be instituted. All meat processed under this new DHCE halal slaughtering method will then be labeled as halal or kosher, respectively. The New Zealand Halal Meat Association accepted the new DHCE Halal Standard, not the Jewish community. The latter does not consider the animal whole or healthy once given a captive bolt shot. 7. The unilateral acceptance of the new DHCE Halal Standard by the New Zealand Halal Meat Association raised questions as to the authenticity and worthiness of its halal certification. The issues are as follows. First, the new DHCE Halal Standard is a man-made law, not the standard set by Allah. The new standard is created by the disbelievers, who decide among themselves what are good and suitable for Muslims, when there are already existing Islamic laws and regulations for Muslims to adhere to. The disbelievers are putting their personal, moral, code onto the Muslims, above God's divine laws. That is not how Islam works. Second, the New Zealand-sponsored DHCE Halal Standard does not follow the Sunnah, the slaughtering method practiced by Prophet Muhammad himself. The Sunnah is yet another source of law which Muslims hold dear. Third, a non-penetrating captive bolt, NPCB, works on the principle of inflicting a very forceful strike on the forehead or upper head of the animal, then immediately retracts. The transfer of powerful kinetic energy from the moving bolt to the animal's brain cause severe damage to its skeleton and soft tissues. The impact of the blow cause concussion, render the animal unconscious. In extreme cases, the shock waves push the brain tissues through the opening of the tentorium, compressing the brain stem, in effect destroying the neural functions of the brain. The animal will be brain dead. Shooting an animal even with a non-penetrating captive bolt, NPCB, stun gun is akin to giving the animal a hard blow, which is strictly forbidden, Surah Al-Ma'idah, 5:3. Fourth, among the prerequisites of a halal slaughter is the use of completely whole and healthy animals at the time of the slaughter, without defects, illnesses, diseases, or broken parts, organs. However, upon receiving a NPCB shot, the animal is as good as a carcass. It is no longer whole or without defects. The AVMA Journal reported that the damage caused by a non-penetrating captive bolt, NPCB, is almost as severe as the damage caused by a penetrating captive bolt, PCB. through MRI and CT scans. The veterinarians found 19 bone fractures involving the occipital, interparietal and temporal bones in the brain. In addition, deep depression and hemorrhage were also detected at the NPCB impact site. Also found is the fact that upon receiving a NPCB shot, the animal's heart can still beat up to 8 to 10 minutes, even though the brain is already destroyed. In Europe, animal needs to be slaughtered within the next 60 seconds once given a captivebolt shot. Any delay in slaughtering will cause its heartbeat to stop. In another word, the NPCB method only offers a false illusion of life. When in fact, if not slaughtered within the 8 to 10 minutes gap, the animal will still die of itself. Thus, it is already more than 70% dead once stunned. Animals which are not whole or die of itself is haram in Islam. Fifth, two important factors which dictate the successful use of NPCB stun guns are power and position. Too little power will not result in unconsciousness, thereby necessitating a second shot. Similarly, if not stunned at the precise position on the head, the animal will also need a second shot. On average, 29% of NPCB need a second shot, which may be too powerful for the animal, and cause it to die immediately. Since the NPCB slaughter will cause higher operational costs to slaughterhouses, how many of such accidental carcasses eventually pass through as halal? The new DHCE Halal Standard is currently only applicable to meat which originated from New Zealand. Once accepted by more Muslim communities in the world, the DHCE Halal Standard will be replicated elsewhere. Very soon, the Ummah will only be offered halal meat dictated by the DHCE Standard, not the standard set by Allah. A dangerous precedent indeed. 9. Uncertainty is doubt or was. When something is uncertain or doubtful, Islam teaches us to move on to other options. There are plenty other halal meat exporting countries which hold steadfast to Allah's standard, elsewhere.
Leave what makes you in doubt. For what does not make you in doubt, the truth brings a peace of mind, while falsehood sows doubt.
Every year, more than 250,000 bulls were killed in bullfighting rings in Europe and elsewhere. The bulls died in an agonizing death, subjected to pre-fight abuses, stabbed repeatedly with wooden banderillas and a thin, sharp sword. Whereas, every stab will be accompanied by thunderous cheers and applause from thousands of spectators. And if after such seemingly endless painful experience, the poor bull still can stand on its own 4 feet, other matadors and their assistants will join in the kill. Thereafter, whatever is left will be sent to slaughterhouses and restaurants to be feasted upon.
سكني في عينك بسكنك عيني.
Are humanity, morality, animal rights, death and welfare the absolute property of the disbelievers? Is it really more humane to fracture an animal's skull, burst its brain stem cells, then slit wide open its chest down to the throat, to bleed it to death? Is it halal to eat the meat of a non-whole animal with fractured skull, shattered brain cells, which will die of itself within the next 10 minutes?